Hey everyone, we are back. Welcome back to Saturday Slaughter. It's been about 3 weeks and some change since you heard from us last, I believe. And that is because
I got busy eating rocks.
We've all been kind of busy in our own way. We've had some shit going on.
I was hungry.
That's not what was going on, but
No.
okay.
Rocks.
I be kids, but there was some personal stuff going on. Some people lost a loved one. It was not an easy couple of weeks, but we are back, baby. We are better than ever, and today we are discussing The Witch, as we talked about, like 3 weeks ago. And, we're just going to go past the introductions here. We're just going to get into it. A couple of things I do want to say before we really get started. The Witch had 2 release dates. It released in the Sundance Film Festival on January the 27th of 2015, and the official U.S. release was on February 19th, 2016, I believe.
That tends to be how a lot of A24 films are, honestly.
Yeah, they always release at Sundance first, and it did well enough at Sundance to get a theatrical release, and it did very well in the box office. It grossed $40.4 million, which is pretty crazy. I don't think that was over opening weekend. That was like the cumulative amount it received, like it got when it was in the theaters for like, I think, a month, maybe 2 months it was in theaters. It grossed $40.4 million, so that's not bad.
That sounds pretty similar. It sounds pretty similar to like Midsommar and Hereditary.
And
honestly.
I think, and those people, like all those movies share a very similar feel in terms of how you feel psychologically. And Robert Eggers did a good job at directing this, and I think he chose, the casting in this movie is good, and Anna Taylor-Joy, who plays Thomasin, I think he chose the right girl to be the final girl in this movie, more or less.
Fun fact about that, actually, her audition thing was actually the first one to actually be seen was her. She was actually the first person that was chosen for the film.
That's right. I knew I looked that up, and I didn't even write it down. And I think not like normally when they do a movie, they'll cast like the lead role somewhere in the middle or towards the end. But in this case, they casted their lead role first, which is an interesting way of doing it. But I think it actually worked to the movie's benefit. It has such a small cast anyway, similar to how Hereditary was when we covered that. So if you're going to work with a cast that small, you really need to make sure that your main character is going to be someone you're going to want to hear from long term. And I think casting her first was the right move, especially with how good she is throughout this movie.
Yeah, I mean, every movie I've seen her in, she's done amazing.
Yeah, and like when I was watching the trailers for Split, every time I see them, or even the parts that I see, her role in that movie, she's so good. And just the little bits I've seen, that's coming from someone who hasn't even seen the whole movie. So I can't even imagine how good she's going to be in the movie as a whole.
She's also very good in The Menu. Honestly, The Menu was really not that bad. I liked it a lot, personally.
The Menu is something I think is definitely on the list. There's a lot of things on the list that I need to quit being so lazy and try to find. But,
I highly recommend it. Good movie.
Well, if I watch it, it'll give us an excuse to cover it on here. So, I'm not going to complain about that. I mean, that's more business for us, more listeners for us. I'm not going to complain. And I do want to, segue into kind of like the setting. So this takes place in Victorian era New England, and the family they're meeting with the council and the governor and all that shit, and the dad is confronting them, and basically they're sent away from the village that they're in to live by themselves in private, and it's a very vulnerable setting for the time period. There's nobody there. They live on a farm by themselves, isolated, miles away from anyone. They have to go hunt their food. They have to chop their own wood. They have to raise goats just to survive.
They've had to grow their own corn and everything else.
Yeah. The Catholic Church and the governor just said, no, fuck you guys.
It's nah, you're excommunicated. You're out. Get the fuck out of my place.
Y'all's is witches.
Get the fuck out.
Right, exactly. And, the y'all's as witches is a kind of on the nose. Pretty good foreshadowing. I didn't even have to say that. You did it for me. And I already mentioned that they are completely isolated, so I'm going to skip that. And the events start happening pretty quickly. Things go tits up in a hurry. once they're out there and they
Yeah.
get isolated. What?
I don't know. I feel like, again, I'm sure it is a good movie. And what I did like enjoy, like there were enjoyable parts of the movie, but I feel like a lot of it was just so nothing.
I think a big issue I have with this movie is the pacing. There's a lot of time when there's not a lot going on.
It's just them screaming at each other for like 50 minutes straight,
Yeah,
and then people start dying.
Yeah.
But also, a lot of people a lot of people really don't like Old English. Well, that's primarily how they spoke was in Old English.
And I was going to say, like, everybody in this movie, with the exception of Anna Taylor-Joy, is English in some capacity. The dad, what the hell's his name? I can't remember his frickin' name. Oh, wait, I've got it on here. Oh, yeah, Samuel. His actor is Scottish, I believe. The mom's actress is also Scottish. Gabriel, I think, the little brother. Not the baby, but the other one.
Caleb,
thank you. I don't know where I got Gabriel from. His actor is English, and then Mercy and the twin brother, I think they are both English as well.
Mercy and Jonas.
Mercy and Jonas, I think they're both English as well. So I think that if they were going to cast this movie, they did it effectively, picking people from England that still speak that way, as opposed to having people that are American try to speak the Queen's English and do it incorrectly. I think that really helps the experience of this movie.
Also, the father was named William.
William. Who the hell is...
Samuel was the
Samuel's
baby.
the baby, that's right. William, yeah.
Are you okay?
No, I don't think I am. I haven't watched it in a while, so that's part of the problem. I've only seen it once, and it was 2 or 3 days after we talked about covering it, and I haven't watched it since, so I'm working off what brain power I do have.
I was very, very in like watching it like wholeheartedly.
Mm-hmm.
The one time I was actually paying attention to it.
Mm-hmm.
That's when I took all my mental notes, and then earlier I was taking all of my little researching.
Writing everything down.
Well, not everything down. I wanted to more like research different
Oh, yeah.
things about the movie and different key elements.
Right. I didn't do I did the research on like the casting and the box office and the release dates and all that, but I didn't do enough, unfortunately, in terms of like what went on behind the scenes, which I now regret because like the little bit of the behind the scenes stuff I did see, it looked like there was a lot that this movie didn't seem like to be too plagued by too many production problems. You know, it seemed like the cast genuinely liked each other, liked being on set, liked working together. And, you know, kudos to the production team because they did a very good job of making this feel like you were back in the 1600s. I mean, this is beautifully shot. The location is awesome.
Yeah.
And I get, like, the entire movie, I did get a sense of isolation. Like, I felt like I felt for them, like being cut off from society. I won't survive that way. There's not enough interaction for me.
The hidden extrovert, and you have to be around people.
Yeah, exactly. And then, even if I was just around my family, I can't live that far away from society. And it's just that feeling of isolation, like, bad storm rolls around, you're prepared for it, but you're stuck in your house miles away from society for the next week.
That makes one of us.
Right, yeah, I'm sure it does make one of us at this table, yeah. Knowing how you guys are, I'm sure I'm probably the only person here that feels that way.
I know, Ivy's also.
Okay,
more
good.
extrovert than
I
I
like going outside.
It's not just, I mean, I don't mind going outside. It's the isolating me away from human interaction that I mind. But, you know,
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm going outside. I talk to people.
exactly.
I don't.
Then again, I'm not a family who was cast out of their community for possible witchcraft in the 1600s, though.
To be fair, though, it doesn't make one of us because the human brain is entirely driven on communication and interaction. So even people who are introverts at a certain point have been shown, and in fact have been shown even more susceptible to going insane if taken away from communication for too long.
Right. We got a little psychological there. Now you guys
Yeah.
have a little
So,
psychology tidbit.
Not only are you wrong, you're a liar.
Shut up.
And
But yeah.
when I said earlier that things went tits up pretty quickly, Samuel's death is like they get to like the new farmhouse and Samuel goes missing almost immediately. It's like 20 minutes into the movie, Samuel's gone. Can't find him anywhere.
He's just out of income and out and just kind of...
Yeah, and
then nothing happens for 50 minutes.
Well, it's not only that nothing happens, it's just little tidbits happen leading up to it. They kind of have to watch.
yeah, they do drop story in there, but they're trying to figure out what happened to Samuel, and then Thomasin does eventually learn what happens, but they kind of plant seeds of them leading up to solving that mystery. But they do a lot when it comes to Samuel's death here. Like, they get away with showing a lot. Like, we see what happens to Samuel off camera, but we see the shadows cast by the fire. They took a big risk with showing everything that they did with that scene.
I will say there is other little things that they do show that people don't really talk about.
Yeah.
That's. Go on with what you were saying. I'm very sorry.
No, you're okay. I was just going to say that it does make it just very disturbing. Like, the fact that Samuel's an infant, he's helpless. He literally, is just there to be fed by his mom and be changed. That's his function in life. And the witch takes him and she grinds him into a paste that she smears on her body. And you don't see the grinding process, but you see everything that leads up to that. And then she doesn't grind him into a paste, but she rubs his blood all over her.
That kid is called flying ointment.
I see. I did not know that. So that's a disturbing fact that I now, unfortunately, will never forget.
The more you know, kids. Flying ointment was made out of baby fat and also some herbs that you found that are specific herbs. But yeah, the more you know, kids. It's also a hallucinogenic.
We here at Saturday Slaughter do not approve of slaughtering babies for hallucinogenic drugs. Don't listen to her. Stop telling people how to make hallucinogenic drugs out of dead babies.
I'm just describing what the thing is.
Actually, here at Saturday Slaughter, we don't condone the killing of any human being or any animal unless it's
In the
absolutely
express
necessary.
purpose of making hallucinogenic drugs.
Right.
I was just talking about what it's made out of.
Unless you're starving to death or your life is on the line, we don't condone the killing of any living being.
Speaking of killing the animals, there's two different other animals that have been killed in this movie. And we don't condone that.
No, definitely don't kill the animals. They're better than humans. in most cases.
Especially a dog. Why'd you kill a dog?
Well, some dogs are dicks, so kill some of them, but I'm kidding.
It
I'm
was
totally
a
kidding.
baby. Then it was Fowler. It was a good boy.
Yeah, Fowler was a good boy. I'm totally
He was a
kidding.
good boy. He did not.
The
His
reaction
belly
I
was
got
ripped
from Ivy,
open,
though,
and he was still
The
breathing.
absolute
It was
look
not
of
okay.
disgust.
the look of shock and disgust all at the same time in the face of Ivy and of Shannon at the same time was pretty priceless.
His name was Fowler. He was a good
Yes.
boy. He did not deserve that slow knife
No.
ending death.
He absolutely did not.
Poor boy. He deserved better.
I mean, at least he was put out of his misery, but he suffered for it first,
He
unfortunately.
was up out of his fucking misery.
Right.
Hmm?
Did the witch kill the dog?
Yes.
Yes.
Do you know why? Okay, there's a lot of sayings around, like, dogs. When the saying of, like, dogs are a good judge of character, one of the reasons why is because dogs were believed to be able to find and hunt witches.
Now, see, that I didn't know.
Yeah.
Which would explain why the witch was after Fowler.
The more you know.
But it makes sense, too, because if you've seen all this, you see, footage of, places that are haunted, you'll see the dogs, they'll go up and they'll start barking at those areas, but nobody else can see them.
They used to have hunting parties. Like, historically, they had hunting parties, and they used dogs to track down the witches.
Yes.
Okay, that's the symbolism of Fowler. I didn't get that either. That's the thing. This movie is so symbolic. There's symbolism all over it, and I love it. And that was something I also didn't previously
I'm
know.
surprised you didn't know that.
I did. I just forgot about it.
Shannon is here to
forgot
learn
for a
more
second.
because Shannon has not actually seen the witch, so she's here to just kind of gain insight if she chooses to watch it at one point or not.
But also that are on little tidbits of things.
And to kind of educate us, or well, I guess educate me about things I didn't previously know. That seems to be a recurring pattern here.
I've done a lot of research about 1600. Not to mention I love 1600s anyway.
Yeah.
So
I know 6 things, and 4 of them are how to eat rocks.
shut the fuck up.
Oh, good lord. Okay.
Is it truly a crime for a girl to be hungry?
Yes.
Oh.
I I think we're gonna have this conversation off podcast. There's a whole lot of that statement that
That's
needs
gonna
to
be in the
broken
poll.
down.
That's gonna be one of the polls on this
Please, not
episode.
this for me.
Am I allowed to eat rocks? Yes or no?
No.
I don't.
Anyone who says no, I will find you. And I'm calling John Wick.
Oh, good lord. We're bringing Keanu Reeves into this.
Oh, it's
now.
a
Good
oh
lord.
my God! It's John Wick.
Oh my god, it's John
Jesus.
Wick.
God help us. Oh God. Speaking of Jesus, I'm going to go the other way on this one. And like I said, Lord forgive me. The family is raising goats, which I love the symbolism of, because a goat has always been like a symbol of the devil. I'm not going to go into like the actual biblical explanation of that, because Satan is not in any way a goat man, but we'll just leave it there.
Specifically black goats.
Right. They use black goats a lot. That's where the symbolism comes from. But the family is raising goats, which could also be a good way of foreshadowing what's happening. Like, that if you know anything about witchcraft, you know that they associated the devil with the goats back then, with the horns. So, seeing the family raise goats, every time I see them, I'm like, yes, I know it's going to happen. That's awesome.
Also, the reason that goats are heavily associated with devils and demons and stuff is because a lot of the descriptions and depictions of demons and stuff in the Bible were referenced, or rather, the imagery and stuff was taken from descriptions of the satyrs from Greek mythology. Goat men.
Also goat horns and stuff like that.
Yeah, so goat horns and hooves ended up becoming like a staple of demons and devils and Satan because of satyrs being like trickster type of
And
deity. Not
demons-
deities, but...
To add into
Demons,
that,
yes,
there's a
but
bit
not
more.
not Lucifer himself.
Oh,
To
yeah.
add into what Ivy is saying, there is a bit more to that coming up
Yeah.
later, which I think is really neat. But I'll talk about that later. Very
And then I
bit.
think the reason it's black goats is similar to why witches were always depicted with black cats.
Evil. Like, just
Yeah.
black. It's a dark color.
Because
Evil.
we here at Saturday Slaughter do not think anything that is black is evil.
I had two black cats. They're
We
good
promise. In
It's not
fact, we
even
here at
just
Saturday
black cats.
Slaughter are very anti-racist.
Oh, good lord. I knew we were going to go into racism. I knew that was coming.
I feel like I have
I
to.
frickin'
We
knew
can't
it.
say,
Oh,
"Oh yeah, these black
Lord.
things are a depiction of evil," and then not
Oh.
clarify that.
It's 2024. I don't think we need. Okay, you know what? Actually, I do think we need
We
to.
do need to
You're right,
clarify.
we do. Unfortunately, we
Have
need
you been
to
on the
clarify.
internet, pal?
Yeah, you're right. We shouldn't need to, but unfortunately, in this day
We're
and age,
covering
we need
our
to.
bases.
Yeah, you're right.
I'm not getting canceled on Twitter again.
Again, yeah.
Black cats were known as familiars in general, though, and also used for spying and also all the black magic in general. But,
Huh. The black
But-
magic part, I knew.
but they're also known as bad luck, quote unquote. But to me, they're actually good luck, because actually, they were good luck. I had a black kitty cat. They're good babies.
Right.
One of them is a good baby.
Yours is a little.
As much as I love Scarlet,
Yours is a little heartless.
I don't even think she's necessarily bad. She's just dumb. She keeps running into the. Okay, my favorite
She's a little
stories. Yeah, she gets real bad when she gets in heat every month. But
Harlot.
my favorite story is one day I woke up and she'd made a noise, so I look over and she ran into the wall. And I'm like, oh god, like, cause she ran into it, like, pretty hard. And so I got up, I went to, like, hold her, I pet her a little bit, and then I watch her, like, turn towards me, turn towards the wall, and then run into the wall again.
She's not.
She's a
not
little
the smartest.
special. She's a
not
little
the
special.
smartest.
I think she has cat autism. She might be cooked.
And then
Catism.
there's my little boy. His name's
Autism.
And then my little
Autism,
boy.
yeah.
He's a good boy. He's just very shy and timid.
Oh my god, pautism. How did I miss that? What the fuck?
Oh, good lord.
Autism.
Pautism. Pautistic.
We may end up having to do a psychology podcast now with how much psychological references we've dropped in this episode alone.
I'm
I
so
feel like-
sorry, guys.
To be fair though, I feel like we wouldn't even have to, because with horror comes psychology.
You know what? You're right. I can't.
Yeah.
It's
Like, there's no
And
way to
psychological
experience
horror is
horror
one
without...
anyway.
Oh yeah.
even outside of psychological horror, like slasher films and stuff are going to delve into psychology.
Like, why do the final girls run where they shouldn't be running when there's a door right?
Why are these decisions made? What is the motivation of the killer? How do these things work?
Like, if I'm being stalked by a killer in that moment, am I gonna use that part of my head, or am I just gonna think I need to go somewhere else to survive?
I need to go somewhere.
Am I gonna find somewhere to try to hide? Am I gonna try to fight back? What am I gonna do?
Quick callback to our very first episode on Scream 1, I actually explained this with how home is meant to be, in our brains, it is very often a designation of like safety and where we can be to make sure we're going to be okay. And it is very hard to break those habits.
Correct.
But when safety has been disrupted by someone being in your home, it's kind of...
a lot of times it's going to be like, oh, well, I know my room is safe, so I'll go there. Right. Instead of, oh, there's not a killer outside.
Or in this case, Thomasin will finally decide to join the witches' coven to save herself.
Yeah.
Because it was the only choice she had.
But, you know what, she might actually be a bit happier.
I will get into that when we talk about the end, because I actually agree with you, and there's a couple of reasons throughout the movie why I think that. But I do want to talk about the witch, because the witch is very methodical in this movie. It's not like instantaneous, it's not sudden. The witch is slowly grinding away at the family's sanity and opening each one of them up to be bewitched.
First of them, unfortunately, being Caleb. Poor kid.
Yeah, and I was going to say, because she didn't bewitch Samuel.
No, Samuel was a baby.
You can't bewitch the innocent.
No. But Caleb, however,
Samuel just got God.
She played on the fact that Caleb was giving into his sexual desires.
Right, staring at Thomasin a lot.
Right, she became this... That's something I do want to touch on, because, they're down by the creek, and, Thomasin's on the washboard, and she's washing the clothes out, and her top is cut low, and Caleb's supposed to be doing something else, but he keeps looking down her top, and this is his biological sister he's staring at.
But also while she was sleeping.
Yeah, and he did it again while she was sleeping, and obviously the witch is aware of this. So the witch is studying Caleb to know what he's weak to and what will make him susceptible to her.
Yeah.
She plays on that, and that's how she's able to actually bewitch Caleb.
Yeah.
But even with that, Caleb is still a man of faith, so it's still hard for her to be able to fully influence him.
And then she kisses a minor.
And you went back, we talked about the apple before we started the podcast, and I think that's where that comes from.
Yeah.
The apple, I think, is symbolic for the poison that she put into him.
It also references the apple from the
poison apple that the witch gives.
From the tree of the knowledge of good and evil.
Yeah.
Well, Adam and Eve.
Right.
Because,
he was tempted.
The apple was, sinful.
Yeah. Because God told Adam to not go near the tree, and both Adam and Eve ate from the fruit of the tree.
Exactly.
They had the entire rest of the world, and they had to stay away from that one tree, and they chose not to. It's symbolic for the fact that Caleb had everything else he could have done, but he gave in to that and went to the witch.
Yeah. He
gave into his desires, his unholy and unclean desires.
Speaking on that, though,
it's very against Puritan ideology.
In defense, on it was ever actually said to be specifically an apple, but that is kind of like the imagery that's been used for a while.
Because it's the most common fruit that grows pretty much everywhere it can on a tree. Like oranges don't grow in that area; it's too arid.
Neither do grapes, so like that.
Grapes grow on a vine.
Go wherever the fuck they want.
Right, apples can pretty much grow everywhere if the conditions are right. You plant an apple tree, it'll grow.
Yeah,
it's like potatoes.
However, in defense of the whole Adam and Eve thing, where it's like, oh, they had all this and they still got the tree, God never told them what lies were. They were not prepared for some snake to come up and be like, hey, yo, that tree actually kind of cool.
Well, yeah, and that's where God gave us free moral agency.
Yeah,
He could have easily just created them to not to listen to and obey Him perfectly, but they chose to do what they wanted to do.
He gave them freedom, and they wanted, they wouldn't eat from the fucking tree.
Yeah. Right. But again, I feel like it was more of a not even necessarily that they wanted to. It was more that they didn't know what lies were.
They were forbidden.
Didn't. Yeah. Yeah, it was like, oh, we're not supposed to do this, and then someone comes up.
It's like when you're raising a toddler, you tell them not to do something, they're going to look at you and do it. Right, to see what's going to happen.
That's just
what's going to happen is you're going to get your ass whooped. That's what's going to happen.
I feel like I am, my point is being massively Again, like,
I'm sorry.
not even necessarily that they were tempted or anything, but they didn't know what lying was.
Well,
they
yeah.
never had any moral basis or any, like, knowledgeable basis on what the fuck that is.
Right.
So the devil comes up, starts lying to them. They don't know what lying is, so by default, he's telling the truth.
And that's what I was going to say, too. Like, lying is, unfortunately, subjective.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
what one person thinks is a lie, another person thinks is either omitting the truth or just withholding information.
Yeah.
But
I
also,
would say admitting the truth
Well,
is still
omitting-
a lie.
Yeah.
there's also
Yeah,
there's
you're
also
right.
the whole bit of
Withholding
like,
information
saying it so much
or,
that you start to believe it
evading.
yourself.
Yeah.
There's also the thing where you start to see the lie so much that you start to believe it yourself.
Yeah. And I think that's part of the whole point of that story.
Yeah.
You know, they were deceived, you know, and there was a moral lesson. When you're deceived, there are consequences for those actions. But, you know, they learned by example in that case. So
Don't
did
be
the rest of the
gullible.
world.
You'll fuck
It's
over the
kind of
entire
a-
human race.
It's kind of like how the movie was with calling Thomasin a witch constantly
Mm-hmm.
when she wasn't actually a witch.
Right. She was
Uh,
actually holding the family together.
Yeah, and they kept calling her a witch the entire fucking
Yeah,
time.
she-
She ended up becoming a witch because all y'all got fucking killed.
And that's something I just thought of this. I didn't write it down, but I do want to talk about it because the witch knew where the family members were most vulnerable.
Yeah.
Like what they were doing wrong. Caleb was the one that, you know, at his age was giving into his sexual desires, like staring at his sister, doing things that were unholy and unclean, especially for a boy his age.
He wanted them ankles.
Correct. Then you have just all the ankles.
So many ankles.
All the
And
ankles.
then Jonas and Mercy, they were kind of just, not really following what they were supposed to do. In the first
Right, they were being
place.
disobedient to their older sister who was in charge of them.
Right.
Then you have Catherine, the mom, who was so distraught over the death of their son Samuel that she was going.
That she,
Yes.
that she was
That
not
she was-
taking care of
Well,
them.
not only that, she wasn't taking care of her children, but she was also being disobedient to her husband, which in
Yeah.
those days was completely wrong.
Yeah.
Women were subordinate to men.
Yeah, which is horrendous.
It was, but that was the time. That was how time was
Yeah.
back then. And the witch knew that, and the witch used that against her. And then you have William, who started to have his faith challenged. He was doing everything he could to keep his family in the faith, and yet he let Catherine start to test his faith, and then he let his faith start to falter. The witch was able to eat that up and use all those things against each one of them, but she couldn't do that with Thomasin. The only way she could break Thomasin was to take the rest of the family from her. Thomasin's strength was her family and her love for them and her loyalty to them. She was the only one that kept a level head the entire time because she wanted her family to stay together. Once all of them was taken from her, she had nothing else. So the witch was being methodical in the sense that the witch knew what was going to break each one of them and allow her to take them too. She just couldn't do it with Thomasin. Thomasin needed a family, which is why at the end of the movie she joins the coven. She had nothing else left.
And she seemed a lot more freer and independent, which
Yeah.
was honestly what she wanted in the first place, was being independent.
Yeah. And I think we'll talk more about that as we get into the end too, because it obviously you can see that she's stressed about what she's having to do, like about her responsibilities. But she's staying loyal to the family because the family needs her and they need to be together in this time. So she's giving up her own independence to be there for them. The witch is that witch is definitely, in terms of like all the movies about witchcraft I've seen, I think that this one depicts the witch in the best way that you possibly can.
A lot smarter than she is powerful. She can't just brute force her way into this. She has to take it
Right.
step by step.
Right, and it's because like in the beginning you see the witch depicted as like the old frail woman until she kills Samuel, then rubs his blood on her, and then she's able to get that youthful appearance that she uses against Caleb.
Which also, I feel like that's sort of where the Mother Gothel came from Rapunzel.
God, fuck Mother Gothel.
You know, that's actually an interesting idea. I didn't think about that. There are a lot of
Despise
parallels.
that woman.
Yeah, now that
Everyone hates that woman.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Fuck Mother
Wow.
Gothel. All my homies hate
Fuck
Mother
her.
Gothel.
right,
But it is still a concept that honestly would make sense.
right, yeah, definitely. And this movie's full of foreshadowing too. There's a lot of moments where the characters are foreshadowing something that's going to happen later on. Where like Mercy doesn't believe Thomasin, she's accusing Thomasin of being the witch. She's the first one to do it, and while she's not technically right, she's foreshadowing what's going to happen by the end.
But also the kids, Jonas and Mercy, constantly being around Black Goat, also kind of foreshadows a little bit later.
Yeah, it foreshadows that, and it also says that they're so impressionable with their age.
Yeah,
like they will, like
they'll believe anything.
Yeah, they'll believe anything. They're following a goat and letting the goat dictate their decisions.
Yeah,
they're getting themselves in trouble and saying that they were with Black Phillip.
They didn't know any better.
Right.
They're like, what, 5, 6 years old?
I don't know. If I was that old, I'd
6.
probably follow the goat too.
I like goats.
Seems to be the most stable member of this family.
I like goats.
Yeah, goats are cool.
Goats are cool. My favorite is the I can't remember what they're called. One of my older sister has a picture of one that she drew by hand, and I can't remember what it's called, but it's the ones with like the really long horns that curl in on themselves.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, they're so cool.
A ram.
Yeah.
Rams?
Yeah, rams have the curled horns.
Well, I mean, it's like a very specific breed. Is that the right word?
Breed? Yeah, I think so.
That's right word.
It's like a very
It's
specific.
like dog breeds, cat breeds.
I think a ram is in the goat family.
Yeah.
But its horns aren't straight out; they're curled in.
It's kind of like a bull.
For the longest
cows and shit.
For the longest time.
Same family.
For the longest time, I thought that rams were just male goats.
No.
No,
I
they're
did
female
not.
rams too, I think.
Yeah, I did not
Yeah.
register that it was a different type of goat. I was like, yeah, boy goats and girl goats. I used to think, I don't know if this is a universal experience, but I used to think that all dogs were boys and cats were girls, and that's
too.
just how it works.
And I think like it's still true to this day. Like when you see a dog, you say, "What a good boy," and it could be a female.
Yeah.
You see a cat, oh, that what a pretty
girl.
Right, and it's probably a male cat. You know.
Guys, speaking of, we got a porch cat outside.
Porch
She
kitty.
had babies.
Baby girl.
There's 3 of them. They're so pretty.
Yeah, they are.
They're actually Snickers kids. Snickers was this one stray cat that I used
I
to
remember Snickers,
love, and rest
Snickers
in peace, pal.
Yeah, Snickers was a good baby.
He got by a coyote.
Unfortunately.
But yeah, one of them is definitely his. Looks almost exactly like him. First time I saw it, I almost cried.
It's an American black belly.
Oh yeah, those. You see it? Yeah, that
We're
thing.
going from witchcraft and goats to pussycat for a second. It's okay.
And then we went back to goats, cause.
And then we went right
Goats.
back to goats. That's true.
I love
Vampy
goats.
brought us right back.
Sorry.
No,
Thanks,
no,
homie.
it's okay.
That's what we need to be doing. We need
Exactly.
to stay on track.
We always get off topic, which is fine.
It's like-
you guys still listen, so you guys love us. So
It's like
fine.
1:30 in the morning. We
That's
gotta
true.
stay on track.
And
I want to go
worked
to
today
bed.
and I have to work tomorrow. Yeah, I feel you. Or I guess I have to work today. Whatever. Details. Who cares? Where was I? I don't freaking remember. Oh yeah, Catherine is blaming Thomasin for what happened to Samuel. Like it's obvious. The first person she turns to blame is Thomasin.
Yeah. Which, I mean, Thomasin was the last one to see Samuel.
Mhm.
I mean,
Thomasin, yeah, and she was in charge of Samuel at the time he disappeared, but it was late when he got taken. So Catherine, you know, she can kind of blow it out her ass, honestly.
yeah.
God,
If you want my opinion, that bitch can blow it right out her fat ass, honestly. Like, your daughter was asleep. Well, you want her to have her eyes open when you should watch your child at night? Who the hell do you think you are?
Also,
Yes, what happened to Samuel was a tragedy, but get over yourself. Pull your head out of your ass.
with Caleb, with different topic, but with Caleb, there is a symbolism with an egg, and there a little bit of that.
Mhm. Yeah,
With the bloodied egg yolk.
yeah,
That actually means basically innocence gone, basically, more or less.
yeah. Because when, a chicken egg, like they have a special flashlight, and when they shine a light on it, it'll show if there's an embryo in there or not.
Yeah.
If there's an embryo, they can't sell it.
Yeah.
So they'll just let it grow. But sometimes they don't check every one of them, and then you'll get one that has an embryo in it. Except this one was a stillborn baby chick.
Yeah.
And that could also be symbolic for what was going to happen to Caleb, what was going to happen to Samuel.
Yeah.
Like you have this poor innocent baby who has no control of what's going to happen, and then he's just gone.
Yeah. I don't know why, but I was looking at my notes in my little reminders app, and I saw the one talking about, like, the one scene where she, like, pins the one girl down and starts, like, screaming about how she's a witch and she's going to curse them all. And
That's Thomasin to Mercy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why? What was the point of that?
To scare and
To intimidate Mercy, to scare her.
Dick move.
I mean, she was pissed off at Mercy, dude.
She was mad at Mercy at the time, but that's also kind of the catalyst for Mercy really thinking that Thomasin was the witch.
Vampy,
What do you want?
just because you're mad at someone does not mean you can give them psychological trauma.
I mean,
I've done it a lot.
Well,
In a time where people genuinely believe witches are real and it is one of the greatest fear of these children's, it's pretty fucked up to
I
be
think a
like,
lot of-
yeah, I'm a
I-
witch and I'm going to harm you and your entire family
You see,
just
though.
because you're a little
You see,
ticked
though.
off.
I
It's a
would
child.
do that.
Yeah, probably because you're
order.
not the greatest of people.
I'm aware of that.
I love you, you're not the greatest of people.
I never said I wasn't.
point of order, though. You can. Legally, you can. You have the right. You have the free speech to do so. Should you? That's a moral question.
Yeah,
You
morally, kind of
But
fucked
you
up.
can. It is fucked up, kind of. But you can. Technically.
Listen, I never said I was a good person.
Maybe you should be, though.
You also never said
No.
you weren't a good person.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Being a good
We're-
person
we're
is
ju-
kind of cool.
Exactly.
Be good people, guys.
No.
Please, James A. Janice, if you happen to hear this, don't sue us. We weren't trying to steal your line.
Oh God, that's right.
That's his outro.
bit.
Yep.
That's
Don't
his
do it,
bit.
Todd Waldron.
Yeah,
Anyway.
no, please don't sue us. None of us have lawyer money.
I don't think he'll sue us. I think we're fine. If he ever listens to this, I think he'll be okay. We ramble so much, I think he'll love it anyway.
I ramble.
All right. Anyway, so let's get to the kills.
Oh my god.
Now we're really fun.
No count.
Oh, good lord.
Putting us in the grave.
But I will say though, Kill Count did actually do a kill count on this movie though.
Yes, he did. He did it a
Yeah.
few years ago.
God,
I think he'll do a recount because it was when he did his old format, so things were different.
I highly recommend watching Dead Meat if you guys don't already.
Yeah,
so
he's great.
good.
It's a lovely YouTube.
He's such a
channel.
silly
It's
little
lovely.
guy.
Yeah,
I don't know. That's my favorite part. He's just a silly little guy.
yeah. He just loves what he's doing. It's great.
He's just a fella.
Yeah.
They all have fun with it. It's a wonderful channel. I think y'all
Yeah,
really like it.
There was a point I was going to make, and I lost my train of thought. It derailed. Oh, well, I was just going to say that William's the voice of reason. Catherine is hell-bent on kicking Thomasin out of the house and selling her, and William, twice, is the voice of reason. Like, Catherine thinks that she stole the cup, she wants her gone, to sell her. William has to talk Catherine down. And then again, I think it's Catherine that wants to go back to the church for help.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, it is. And again, William has to point out, why would we go to the church? They kicked us out of the village. Why should we want to be with them? This is our daughter. Why should we want to sell her? Like, she's useful to the family, which is true. And it wouldn't have done them any favors to sell her anyway, because the witch would have just taken them faster. So at least with her there, they were safer.
I'll say William does love his daughter, which is
Very
nice.
much. And towards the end, and that's why I said the witch does eventually take him, like when Black Phillip gores him, it's pretty much, that's where his character arc is complete, before he gets gored, because you could start to see how he's transitioning from being the loving, protective dad of Thomasin to being done putting up with her. And that's when Black Phillip is finally able to get to him. Up until that point, Black Phillip couldn't touch him.
Then again, seeing your daughter with blood on her hands, with your other kids nowhere to be found, and 3 dead ghosts.
Yep.
So yeah, I'd be pretty not okay either.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of blame him for not being. You're like, hey, I'm done with this shit.
Right. And I can't blame him, because at that point he doesn't know the context. All he knows is my daughter's got blood on her hands.
Yeah.
And
My other kids are like gone.
right, and people are dying, my kids are dead, so Thomasin has to be the one that did it.
Yeah.
But William, I did talk about the silver cup, so I do want to circle back around to it, because Catherine is freaking out half the movie about her father's silver cup has gone missing. She can't find it anywhere. And she's blaming Thomasin, like I alluded to earlier. And then there's a point, I think it's like while Caleb's dying, they're having this discussion. I think they're downstairs while Caleb's still upstairs. But he mentions that he sold the cup because the family needed money. And as soon as he mentions that and brings that up, Catherine immediately seems to go through a character shift. Her character goes from where it was to just being the mom of the family, the mom that the family needed.
Yeah.
That hatred that she seems to have for Thomasin disappears in that moment. Unfortunately, that's also where her character just kind of ends. There's nothing really interesting after that about her character. That's pretty much just the beginning and end. the blaming of Thomasin, and then no, I sold the cup, and then bam, she's kind of done from that point. But I think it's another testament to William wanting to protect his family.
Yeah.
He believes his daughter is innocent, and it's not fair to her that her mother is accusing her of something she didn't do. So he's going to do the right thing and make sure that his daughter is not the one that's at fault for it. I did want to bring up the transitions, because unlike Hereditary, the music and transitions are magic in this movie.
They're there for a reason.
Yeah, the music is good, and the transitions are good as well. I don't remember too many of them, but there are a lot of good transitional scenes where, like, one scene just kind of transitions right into the other. There's no black screen or, like, any stop and then start. It just kind of segues right in. It's real smooth. I like it a lot. I don't remember who the cinematographer on this movie was, but I will say that Robert Eggers had a great team behind him, whether they were composing the music, whether they were, like, writing the script, whether they were casting, because the casting in this movie is great. I will say the actor that played Caleb, this is his only acting credit. He's not known for anything else. If he was in other things...
At all?
I think he was in other things, but this is the only thing he's really known for. And I think that's the case with another one of the kids, too, I believe.
Oh, yeah, the Mercier Jonas.
Her name is Anya Taylor-Joy. Sorry,
Yeah.
I kept saying Anna. That was wrong. Let me see here. Okay. Caleb is played by Harvey Scrimshaw. Okay, he's in some more things. I was right. He's from the UK. He was born in Nottingham, UK in 2001. And he's most widely known for playing Caleb here. He doesn't have a Wikipedia page, which is interesting either. He's got an IMDb page, though. He was also in, let's see here, according to IMDb at least, he was also known for The School of Good and Evil from 2022 and Oranges and Sunshine from 5 years earlier. And since he was born in 2001, he would have been 14 here, so at that point he would have been 9 years old. And he was nominated for 3 awards, and I'm pretty sure they're all for this movie. He was nominated for the by the Indiana Film Journalists Association for Best Supporting Actor, Breakout of the Year, both for The Witch, and then at the Seattle Film Critics Society in 2017, he was nominated for Best Youth Performance. I can't argue that. He did put on a good performance, but let's see, then we have Mercy, who's played by Ellie Granger. She was born in 2005. And she was also in The Village. Oh, The Village TV series, that's what I thought. She wasn't born in time for the movie. So yeah, most of the actors in this movie, besides William, who's played by Ralph Ineson, is really only known for, like, this movie. Most of the other ones that are in this movie aren't known for very many other things. Besides, so the woman who played the witch in this movie, like the old witch, was actually born in 1925.
Really?
And she's still alive. She was born in 1925. She's 98 right now.
Okay.
She'll be 99 this year. And it's interesting to me that, you have such a small cast, and a lot of the cast in this movie are really only known for this film. But I do think that also works not only to their advantage, but to the movie's advantage.
Yeah.
And I think having Ralph Ineson be cast as William really helps the credibility of the movie itself, because he is so widely known. He's done so many different movies throughout the years. And having him in this movie really helps sell this movie for a lot of people, because there are a lot of rookies in here. This is a lot of kids.
Yeah.
The only 2 people that have major roles in here are the 2 parents. Like, all the kids, this is either their first role or it's their first major role. So it's really interesting to think that the casting department casted people who they knew didn't have much in the way of experience, but that would be known for this movie itself. So Robert Eggers had a good team backing him for this movie, that's for sure. And I do want to bring up that after what happens with Caleb, and like he sees Caleb die, Will starts to go through kind of a character change himself. He seems to have his faith really shaken at that point, and he seems to be more open to blaming Thomasin for things, or at least accepting that she's being blamed for things rather than standing up for her.
Yeah.
But then, and I also said that after Caleb's death, they immediately seemed to turn on Thomasin, and then I put, never mind, I'm an idiot, apparently, because I thought it was going that direction, and it didn't. They actually just, at least, well, I don't want to say they, because they all didn't. But at least William did, stand by Thomasin's side like he was before. And one point I want to make while I'm thinking of it, the witch couldn't get to Catherine until so there's the scene, Catherine's asleep at night, and she has this, we think she's having a dream, and she sees Caleb holding Samuel in a rocking chair.
Basically hallucinating.
Yeah, and it turns out that while she thinks that's a dream and she's seeing her boys, the witch has actually taken over her mind and has allowed her to see them, and then it's really the crow pecking at her and killing her. But again, she preyed on the mother's vulnerable mind. Catherine was in a very vulnerable state at that point, so the witch knew what she had to do to adapt to get Catherine too, and that was the way she did it, because she couldn't get to him unless it was through her. She couldn't get to her unless it was through the 2 kids she lost.
Yeah.
And the only other thing I really have in here, because we talked about, Thomasin at the end going and joining the coven, but she's actually, so she's out, with tending to the goats and the animals with her dad at the end, and Black Phillip gets loose, and I think she had just had an argument with her dad.
Yeah.
Or her dad was trying to sell her, and she was trying to fight back. Black Phillip gets in and gores William and kills him when she runs. And then Catherine comes out of the house looking for her. She's not dead yet, but she's bleeding from that area because she was trying to breastfeed Samuel at the time, and then the crow was pecking at her. But her and Thomasin start to get into this fight, and as soon as Thomasin kills Kate, she has this look of like disbelief and agony, like she just killed her mother because she had to.
Yeah.
Like her life was at stake. But once she kills her, the movie basically goes quiet. Like there's not any score, there's no spoken dialogue. It's basically just Thomasin walking into the shed. She signs the book, has the conversation with Black Phillip, and then she just goes up to the coven. And once she gets there, you see her she has that smile on her face, like she enjoys what she's seeing. And that's because...
And again, Black Phillip has the goat hooves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Black Phillip is like half goat. Like, that would be... That's a centaur, or is that a minotaur?
Satyr.
Satyr, yeah. With the goat feet and the human torso. And I believe the witch chose Thomasin because she was the strong one in the family. She was the one holding the family together. They constantly doubted her, but she still held them together. And at the end, the witch knew she took everybody else away. Thomasin could finally have the freedom that she had wanted, that we had been alluded to the entire movie. And I think that is what influenced the decision to choose Thomasin over everybody else. It's like you said, Thomasin wanted that freedom. She had spent her entire life, taking care of the family. She never got, it was the 1600s. Well, what does a teenage girl do in the 1600s? But she never got to be a kid. She never got to have that life.
Right.
So the witch gave her that opportunity. And, when you're given the opportunity to have a life you didn't have, it's tempting. And the only reason I think that Thomasin accepted it was because she had nowhere else to go. She had nothing left.
But
Everybody
also,
she loved was gone.
He promised her riches. He promised her, to live deliciously.
Yeah, live. And I don't think that's what sold her. I think what sold her was the fact that she found a family again.
That, and she, hey, you won't have to be stressed. You won't have to be worried about food.
Right.
But we're at home either.
Right. He provided everything that she needed and knew that she always wanted. And she got the freedom she wanted, but she also found a family. She was all about her family before they all died. Now that they're dead, she doesn't know how to live by herself. So, yeah, she accepted all that, but I think the real selling point was when she saw the coven. Like, they started chanting and floating in the air. She didn't run. She stood there and smiled. She was happy to be a part of it. And I think that's where all the foreshadowing in the movie up to that point paid off. Like, we could tell that Thomasin was loyal to the family, but she wanted more. She was being obedient to the family because it was her responsibility, not something she wanted to do. And I believe that that's why the witch chose her personally.
Ivy, do you want to add anything?
I'm not gonna lie. Guys, for once, I didn't fuck with this movie that heavy. I don't think it's a bad movie. Wasn't for me. I didn't pay attention too much, so that's why I've kind of been silent for most part. I did like his boots.
He
boots
did have
were-
pretty dope.
He
boots.
had some pretty cool fucking boots.
Yeah, those
okay?
boots are dope.
And like,
We're talking about fashion of all things.
to put it into perspective, I will give the movie this. It had some great costume design.
Yeah,
There was
I
some
didn't bring it up. Thank
amazing
you.
costume
Yes.
design in this movie.
Costume design was
With
fantastic.
with the outfit that he wore, the boots, the like trench coat looking thing, the jacket, like all of that, his little hat.
And the way the family's dressed.
Yeah, the way the family's dressed looked very authentic. The way the witch was dressing when she was in like that other form.
Yep.
In my notes, I put Little Red Riding Hood.
That's what she looked like, was Red Riding
Yeah.
Hood.
But that's what's kind of like Mother Gothel lately.
Yeah, like the kind of just those riding, like just those hoods in general, because they were used very much for people who lived out in the woods to keep from like stuff getting in their hair and all that from like falling leaves and stuff.
Right.
Keeping stuff out of their hair so they didn't have to like work more than they would already have to keep it clean. But there were some amazing costume design. There were some amazing effects, like special effects, like in this scene where he gets gored by the goat, like amazing blood effects. Even more so in the scene where Thomasin is getting like, I guess, beat up and she has to kill that girl. Like the blood. I was a lot more invested in like the special effects rather than the plot of this movie. I'm not gonna lie.
So the costume designer's name is Linda Muir, M-U-I-R. So
He
shout
did
out to her.
amazing.
Yeah, she.
Oh,
did,
she?
Yeah, Linda Muir.
She did great.
She did a great
Shout
job.
out.
And this is a quote from somebody on the crew, but Linda Muir, the costume designer, had samples from the UK that were all hand woven, exactly what it should be, and then where we could afford it, we would use that. But if we couldn't afford it, she found incredible machine woven stuff that looks really good.
Okay,
So if
that's
it wasn't
actually
hand woven, they'd still use a machine if they couldn't afford the hand woven material.
Oh, that's awesome.
So
But like the fact that even some of it was hand woven.
yeah, then she wanted to get as much of the hand woven stuff as possible.
Yeah.
But the fact that if they couldn't afford it, she
That
went to
stuff is
machine woven.
expensive.
Right, and the machine woven stuff still looks really good.
Oh yeah, it still looks really nice. And that does kind of explain how some of the outfits do look slightly different.
Yeah, because if it's woven by a machine, it's going to look better than it is by hand.
Yeah, it's gonna look not as like, I don't know how to phrase it. I don't knit.
Right. Yeah,
I don't make clothes.
Right. I know where you're going with that. It won't look as tailored, is what I would say.
It won't look as refined.
It'll look more refined if it's from a machine.
Well, yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like hand woven won't look as refined.
Yeah, because it's human error. A machine doesn't account for that. It can't have human error. But still, the fact that they try to get as much authentic hand-woven material as possible, I think makes this awesome.
Like, they just did a really good job for, like, fashion design, special effects. Especially even with the, I don't know, because I know, to my knowledge, they had real goats on set for a majority. But once Black Phillip started, like, acting out more, where he was, like, getting on his hind hooves and, like, going up and all that, I don't know if that was CGI or if they trained a goat.
I'd say that it didn't look like effects to me. I'll put it that way.
I'll check.
I have a feeling that, like, most of the time when they use animals in movies, at least real animals, they're usually trained. The problem is the way Black Phillip looks for half the movie makes me think they might have tried effects for him.
Oh, there were supposed to be more scenes with the goats, but the animals were not trained well.
Yeah, the animals weren't trained very well. That's why they cut a lot of the
black
scenes.
goat.
Yeah. Also, the real-life actor who played Black Phillip, the goat's name is Charlie.
Yeah.
So shout out to Charlie the goat.
Charlie the goat.
And he's a black billy goat.
Yep, he's an OG. And that does bring me back to, like, again, the casting. The guy that played Black Phillip in his human form, I thought was very good at doing that job. Very ominous.
Yeah.
It helped, the wardrobe helped, but, like, he emerges from the shadows. He's got the voice. It's not booming. It's kind of soothing while
that
also
whisper.
ominous. Yeah.
Because, like, I find so many times when it comes into demons with horror movies, they're always, like, screaming and trying to get you to take a deal.
Mm-hmm.
But I find it so much more convincing, especially with it being straight up just fucking Satan.
Right.
Like, it is just outright
I mean,
The
like
one.
I mean, like a Baphomet. That's what he presented with Black Goat.
Right.
Like Skater Man.
Yeah, but like the fact that it's just straight up Satan for him to have like that sultry, because at one point he was an angel, like
Yeah, he's the fallen angel.
yeah, so he knows at least in some degree how to talk to people.
Right. And that comes from the fact that he's a deceiver.
Yeah,
He's able to look at people and lie to them.
yeah, he's able to lie, and you can't scream while lying.
Right.
It doesn't help your image.
Right. Because people are going to believe you're lying if you're raising your voice.
If I rock up and I'm just like, "Hey guys, the fucking Earth is flat," no one.
Right. No one's going to buy that.
No,
Because you're raising your voice. That
you're
implies
screaming and
defense.
not really explaining anything.
Right. And you come across as defensive.
Yeah.
So people are going to think you're lying. And I do find funny that, I talked about this earlier, but the fact that goats are a symbol for the devil, when Lucifer was actually God's most beautiful angel.
Yeah.
Lucifer comes from the Latin root word lux, meaning light, which means he was the angel of light when he was
Yeah.
up there.
And I'm just saying, if you've ever seen any of the statues that were made of Lucifer for like different chapels and churches and stuff, not one of them looks bad.
No, because Lucifer was supposed to be a very
Yeah.
beautiful man. He was the angel of light.
Pretty handsome statues. I do also find it really funny that in a lot of these statues, because it was kind of closer to the Greco-Roman era than we are today, they didn't really censor anything,
Right.
so like a lot of them still have the member on there.
Yep.
But for some reason, it was always such a big point that they were like always as small as they could be.
Right.
And I don't know why that is.
Well, I mean, people have to move that. So if they're like trying to...
Handhold.
Yeah, but no, I'm talking about like if they're trying to put it down, and, you know, they've already got enough weight coming down on them. So if there's more there, it's going to be awkward to hold on to. And if it falls the wrong way, there's too much below there, I guess was the logic.
Yeah.
I mean, and also, I don't want to get into this whole discussion, but that's more realistic. I'll just put it that way.
Yeah.
Like, there's not a whole lot of men with Count Schlongula, you know. That's not really a thing.
That's fair. Also, with a lot of them being like biblical stuff, I do think it would be really weird to like try and deduce how big do we think biblical figures would be. I feel like that might be blasphemy.
Right.
I don't know. I'm not a Christian, but I am religious, and I don't think any of the deities I worship would be very happy if I sat down and was like, all right, how big are they?
Right.
I do want to say that the movie actually did portray the sins as well, like, because one of the main things of Puritans is, you know, not allowing yourself a lot of physical pleasures.
Right.
And
Which is one thing that Caleb eventually gave into.
yeah, which is his was lust actually, and different parts of the movie shows that all family but Thomasin gave in to these gave into the seven sins.
Yeah. In essence, a lot of them did. And that's what the witch needed. The witch couldn't corrupt a pure family.
Yeah.
The witch had to do what she could, and that's why she took Samuel first.
The one who didn't actually do anything wrong was Thomasin.
Right.
Also, they're also very big on their prayers. That's also why the whole thing with hey, say your prayers. I done every night.
Right.
And when the kids couldn't do that, that's what they depicted as, hey, you're being taken over by the fucking devil.
And that's because...
Why?
And the witch knows that, and the witch comes in that night. Like, the witch is able to influence them the next day. And it's all chalked up to they didn't say their prayers.
Because the kids couldn't do it, Caleb couldn't do it.
Right. And since the prayers weren't said, oh, look, you opened the door for the devil.
Yeah.
And I think that's why, goats come into the witchcraft conversation here, because goats, for some reason, are a symbol, like with a satyr, like you were talking about, they're a symbol of demonology in general. Like a lot of demons.
Baphomet.
Yeah.
Baphomet is, I'm not saying at all that he is a bad deity. Not at all. He's actually known as a very good deity. Not any kind of bad reputation at all, Baphomet. Just most Christians say, hey, that's the fucking devil. That's not the devil, guys.
Isn't he balanced?
Yeah, he is balanced.
So therefore evil would be part of it?
Yeah, but he's not actually...
I know, he's not inherently evil.
But
But to be
not
of
inherently
balance, yeah, he wouldn't
in
be
that
inherently good either.
he's basically the balance.
The definition of
Chaotic
true
neutral.
Not even chaotic neutral.
Just neutral, yeah.
The definition of true neutral.
Also, I'll say this right now. Also, he loves the gays. He fucking loves the gays.
Oh yeah. Happy Pride Month, everyone.
That's right. Happy Pride, guys.
We forgot to put that at the
For
beginning.
all of our friends in the
Bachman loves you
LGBT
guys.
community. Happy Pride Month to you guys. And if you're going to be at Pride, we're going to try to get there one day. So maybe if you're there, we'll chat you up a little bit. Sounds like a plan.
Bachman loves you guys.
So do we.
Yeah. And remember, guys, horror as we know it today would not exist without queer representation.
That's true.
Entirely because, especially in older times, a lot of horror villains were based on queer stereotypes. Look at Michael Myers. Look at that outfit. Just saying.
Oh my god. Of all the things, the way he's dressed.
Also, Scream. Billy and Stu. Look at
Yeah. I'd say more
Look at
Stu
those
than
two
Billy, but
fuckers.
yeah.
Billy and Stu were lovers.
But look at them. Look at those two.
If not, Stu was horny for Billy.
Stu
I'll
was
tell you.
absolutely
Stu
crushing
was-
on
yeah.
Billy.
Hard.
I was
He
said
doesn't
a
even,
slur,
bro doesn't even try to
actually.
hide it.
I don't think that there's any other world where you go through all that with someone that you're just friends with.
Nah.
That's some homoerotic shit.
Oh yeah,
Okay?
it's very homoerotic. I'll give you that.
No one can tell me otherwise. If it wasn't for Sydney, Billy and Stu would be together.
The definition
God
of they were
damn it.
roommates.
I mean, maybe I don't know. I don't think Billy was feeling it, but Stu sure wanted to feel Billy.
Absolutely.
absolutely.
And you know, Billy probably would have let him.
But yeah, like queer movies or horror movies
Queer
would not
people.
exist.
Might as well be both.
Yeah, honestly.
Think about Friday the 13th Part 7, which, we'll obviously cover when we cover that series, but that's called The New Blood, but it got the nickname Friday the 13th. Because a lot of the cast of that movie are in the LGBT community.
Oh,
Oh,
babe.
yeah.
Either
I forgot about
most
that.
of the actors were gay or bisexual at least.
Yeah.
And I think
Yeah.
there was like one trans person in that movie.
Oh, based.
Oh yeah, speaking of that, actually,
Amazing.
the newest A24 film, which is also the people that made this movie, their newest movie called "I Saw the TV Glow" actually speaks about a trans person.
Oh,
The entire movie that's about the trans experience and people, and them trying to actually, go on with their life and actually trying to transition and things. It's not. I don't think it's shown. I'm going to say it myself. I'm trying to find the movie somewhere to watch it. But yeah. Speaking of Pride Month, go watch the new A24 film.
Definitely. Watch any A24 film, honestly. Alright, but I think we've said... Does anybody have any final thoughts before we move on? Anything else we want to say?
Not personally.
What about you, Ivy? Got anything else?
Oh yeah.
Not that I can. Oh,
I'm very sorry.
I was just gonna say not that I can think of.
Oh.
If you have something to say, say
Yeah, go
it.
for it.
That the Puritans are actually known as non-congregational in modern day, actually. So.
What kind of the definition of Salvation Army? They don't congregate. They just believe that wherever you are, God is as well.
Yeah.
And I think the only other thing, I know that rabbits fit into witchcraft somehow, but I'm always confused as to how they do. But my own personal opinion is because rabbits are just kind of innocent animals. Like they're hunted, but they don't hunt. They eat plants. They don't actually bring harm to humans or other animals. They're just kind of there. They have their space in society to be preyed on. That's pretty much it. So they're a symbol of innocence.
I hate to ruin this whole headcanon you have. Rabbits are very representative of the sin of lust because when they have kids, they got kids.
Yeah, they're very horny. Yeah.
There's a reason that the phrase is breeding like rabbits.
Yeah.
So
I
I
guess
think
that
they're
was-
meant to be
They're
a
not
rep.
that gentle either.
Oh yeah, they are not.
I guess that was where the symbolism came
Yeah,
in. Was
I
she
do
chose a
believe.
goat and a rabbit.
Yeah, because a goat is a symbol of
wait.
Satan, and then a rabbit is a symbol of lust.
Which is one of the deadliest
Yeah.
of the 7 deadly sins.
From what I
Sin of the flesh.
understand, hares are actually known as a sign of bad luck for farmers, and they were technically farmers.
That's right, because they'll eat a lot of the crops on the farm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because no matter what they're growing, hares
They
are
will
always over
munch
their
up
farmland,
your
yeah.
fucking lettuce.
That and their.
Lettuce, carrots.
I mean,
yeah.
granted,
They
rabbit feet are known as good luck,
Yeah.
but hares in general, rabbits in general, can be
Are bad
unlucky
luck.
in general.
That's
Although-
why you carry the rabbit's foot, because you killed something that was unlucky to you.
Yeah.
So you have
Although,
power over
rabbits in the wild, while they do eat a lot, carrots are actually too sweet for them.
Yeah, so they can't really eat them.
Yeah. So while they do like carrots, and it is nice for like a little treat
There's
sometimes.
too much sugar in them.
Yeah, there's too much sugar in them. Their body can't like properly break it down.
You can give it all. You can give them bunny beaties if you give them too much.
Yeah.
They are also known in witchcraft as. They're also known for rebirth in life in general.
Yeah,
Well,
they're
with the way they
making life.
reproduce, that makes
They're
sense.
That's
making
not what I
life.
meant. The March hare,
No,
which
but
basically
that's-
what that was
That's
known
why
as
they're
life.
known as that representation, though. Like, there's a reason they're
Also for
representative
growth and
of
renewal.
new life and birth, because that's like all they do.
Renewal, growth, fucking.
And I mean, from an evolutionary standpoint, obviously it makes sense. They can't really protect themselves in any way.
But also are known for mischief as well, though.
Because they're little fuckers.
They are
literally.
little fuckers.
Little Peter Rabbit.
They're little assholes.
Y'all remember Peter Rabbit?
Yes,
That was my shit when I was younger.
Peter and his 3 sisters.
Peter and his friends constantly terrorizing that poor farmer.
Yep.
And then getting mad when he retaliated.
Oh,
I remember always being
rabbits.
told that farmer was evil. Bro was just trying to protect his livelihood.
Just protect his family and his livelihood. Give him a break.
He needs the money.
Right.
This poor man was struggling to make rent because of these 3 fuckers. God, I wish that fox got him.
Oh my god.
It's pretty messed up. I don't really want to.
That's pretty messed up. Alright, so I think if we don't have anything else to say, I think we're just going to move on to the supplemental slaughter. Sound good? Alright, let's do it. We're going to start this one off with, I think I'm going to just start with you, Vampy. What do you think? Actually, let's start with the MVV. Of course, for the most valuable victim, we all have to agree. And I don't think there should be any question here that would be Thomasin. I think Thomasin's the reason to watch this movie.
Yeah.
Anya Taylor-Joy is
Yeah.
magnifique. I think our MVP here has to go to Thomasin.
I'm sure I would have
Hands down.
enjoyed her character a lot more if I paid attention through most of it. But
Right.
what I did tune in on, she did a really great job.
Okay,
Like, again, I'm not in any way saying it's a bad movie. It's just, it feels so slow at times.
I'll give you that. The pacing is. I'm not even going to say it's all over the place. It's just very slow. Like, there's a whole lot of downtime with. They're planting seeds, so there's stuff there that's important, but at the same time, the scene's dragging on. Some scenes overstay their welcome, so that does hurt it. But anytime Thomasin's on screen, I don't feel that way.
Yeah.
When she's taking up a lot of screen time, which is another problem, she's eating screen time when she's on there in a good way. She's overshadowing everyone. If she's on screen, she's eating that scene.
She ate.
Yeah, she did. She fed us too. All right,
God,
now
look at you getting your little queer terminology out there during Pride Month.
hey, I learned well. Now we're getting on to the fun stuff. Now we get to kill someone.
Yeah!
So, Ivy, since you know the least, we're gonna start with you. Who would you kill and who would you replace them with?
Oh. God. Like, most people die anyways.
That's true. They did, well, it's like we did when we were talking about, like,
Hereditary.
yeah, like we still pick someone that we would bring back to life and kill someone in their place. Like if we could control someone surviving, who would you allow to survive? And who would you kill for them?
Honestly? This is probably gonna be the least, like, problematic answer I've ever given on this podcast. I'm obviously saying it's Samuel. Dude did nothing. Bro just popped out the womb and was immediately
Exactly.
a victim. Not fucking fair.
Meaty spaghetti sauce and donut glaze, couple of baths, and then
Bro took the salmonella ragu test.
and then gross. And then he's just all over a witch's body after he's
Yeah.
been eaten or ground up into whatever.
If they
the hell
fail
he
the
was ground
test,
into.
they're shipped to the factory to turn into ragu. You know what they say. Prego today, ragu tomorrow.
And then, he was definitely ragu tomorrow.
Jesus.
I don't know if anyone's gonna get that reference.
Fucking Christ.
Also, salmonella, please. Actually, he's not gonna sue me. He's a broke ass college student. He ain't doing shit.
My second favorite YouTuber.
I love his animations. I do recommend Salmonella. He is very educational and really funny.
Salmonella and Wendigo, my two favorites.
But yeah, he's a college student. He ain't got money to sue us.
Salmonella, if you ever
You
see
got
this, please make more videos. I love your videos so much.
Yeah, please stop going on year-long hiatuses.
We miss you.
We
Make
miss
a
your
video about
content.
Sharks.
We miss your content. Please stop disappearing for like months on end.
Please make a video about shark or something. Please.
Oh god, a shark video would be so
Sharks. Sharks.
Okay, buddy, you're getting a bit too autistic here. Calm down.
Fuck you.
Thank
Yeah,
yeah. So who
I gotta
did you
get back
kill
on
to
that.
get Samuel back.
So I saved Samuel.
You did.
Honestly, I know she already dies, but I'm killing Catherine earlier. I despise this
I
woman.
don't have to do it anymore. I don't have to feel bad about
I
it now.
don't. I
Perfect.
despise this woman. She's the worst. All she does is scream at people for no reason.
Yeah, she is a screamer.
Also,
That's for sure.
fuck your dad's cup.
Yeah, fuck that goblet. Seriously, it's a silver cup. Get over yourself. Good lord. All right, moving on. Vampy, we're on to you.
So
Who's
my
dying?
killing,
Who's coming
so my
back?
killing thing, the dying part. I have two different things for this one.
Is it one person? Just two reasons why?
It's one person and they go over people.
Oh god. Okay. So I guess we're just gonna make this one huge
singular
nominee then.
person.
Okay.
Singular person is Catherine, because fuck Catherine.
Okay.
The other person.
Now wait a minute. Now you know what this means, right? This means you can't save Samuel
That was my
because
plan.
that would be identical to Ivy.
I wasn't gonna say Samuel. I love the baby. I do. He did nothing wrong. But that's what I was gonna say.
Okay. Continue on then.
The other person I was gonna kill was the fucking church. And
Oh, the entire church.
The entire
Okay.
Entire church.
Okay. We're just killing
Just
Catholics.
pull-
To
Just
be
pull
fair,
a number 5 from fucking Umbrella Academy. Just,
We're killing all of the Christians.
True
Okay.
witch answer.
yeah.
That's true.
What are
You're
you?
killing my people. Would you stop it?
What are you,
No.
a fucking witch?
what are you, a Puritan?
Get the
I'm not a
state.
Puritan, but you're killing my people.
That's it.
In my defense,
fired.
they did not deserve to be
That's true.
casted out.
Fella?
Okay,
That's true. They didn't. I agree with you.
Fella.
That plays into my decision,
pull
too.
a number 5 from Umbrella Academy, and when we killed the entire conference room. Okay, I will
I
pull.
love that scene.
It was an amazing scene. I
Oh,
will pull a number 5.
All I'm hearing is that someone at this table is a dirty fucking witch.
I'm a fucking heretic, you bitch.
Oh my god.
We heard.
Otherwise known
Pagan.
as a witch.
Pagan.
I'm just saying. I mean, to be fair though, this movie would not have happened if the Catholics died.
If the Puritans died, it would not have happened. That's true.
Yeah.
I mean, personally,
They would
I'm
have
not
never
very
gotten-
Catholics anyway.
But that's why we do this, because we can write our own narrative. So it's
But
beautiful.
but personally,
Yeah,
people would
guys.
That
save
sounds like a boring narrative to have.
So who are you saving?
the father actually, because he
Will. See, I thought about it. Will is
because
really his only crime is actually considering
he lost his
selling
shit.
Thomasin. Right.
He lost this shit. That's not entirely his fault.
Right.
He tried his best to keep his family together as much as he fucking could.
Right.
Genuinely, he was trying to help save his kids.
Yeah.
Genuinely, and also trying to make my fucking wife happy. His wife knocking out his fucking daughter.
Right.
He just ended up losing his shit. I'm not that mad at him for it. Yeah, he shouldn't have tried to fucking kill Thomasin.
Right.
But in his defense, how would you feel if you literally just walked out of your house, looked toward the barn, see dead goats, your daughter with bloodied hands, and your 2 youngest kids are missing?
Right.
How would you feel?
You do what any father would do. You'd react to that situation.
Exactly.
So I can't
That's
blame you.
not definitely his fault. He lost his
Yeah.
shit.
I mean, I'll tell you, like, I agree with you on so many levels. This was a tough one for me because I could make a case for Catherine, and I almost did. What I settled with, I'm happy that I went with, but obviously the obvious choice is to bring the baby back. Samuel was the epitome of innocence, didn't do a thing wrong, like you said. He was just born. His only function was to breastfeed, to, poop,
Bro knew 2 things: suck titty, take shit.
and sleep.
Is
That's
sleep.
it.
And nap.
He was a baby. No, he was not.
That's true. He was screaming most. You're right.
He nap, scream, poop, and then feed. That's all he had.
That's all he knew. That was his
That's
function.
4 functions.
And he was so innocent, and then
Also play.
and then the bitch just kills him, and then wears his blood like some kind of sick skin. It was gross. So I obviously want Samuel back, and I'm not just talking about Dream Samuel. I'm talking about
Who
like
do you want to
actual
kill?
Samuel. oh, you're going to like this. So you mentioned, like, the entire church.
Yeah.
I do want one member of the church dead, but I don't want the whole church dead because it's not all their fault.
Okay.
The governor can fuck off.
That's fair.
I want him dead.
That's very
He
fair.
was leading the charge. He was the reason why they were going to kick him out.
That's fair.
If it wasn't for his influence, they would have been able to stay in their village. The governor was influencing them, and it's like you said, they didn't do anything to deserve being kicked out of the village. Like, yeah, they wanted to kick Thomasin out, but if it should have gone to a vote, it shouldn't have just been, oh, the church says we want you out, so you're out.
We gotta remember how things went back then, though.
Well, yeah, that's true, but like not
Things
every
were
governor...
not really a vote. Things were just like,
Right.
hey, I want you out.
Right. And I think the thing is like, the governor was just power hungry. Like, he knew he was in charge. And he knew that if anybody opposed him, he had enough power to make them leave too, or to...
Would he be a governor or would he be a preacher type thing?
Well, he's in the credits, he's the governor. But he'd be... I guess the governor would be the head of their church in this case,
Yeah.
because Puritans, they didn't leave their own...
They're congregational.
Yeah. So they were all together. They didn't go to other churches. So their governor
their own
would
little
be...
communion.
Right. Their governor would be their priest or their pastor. So the guy was power hungry. He knew that if anybody opposed him, they'd either leave with the family or he'd kill them. So fuck him for being power hungry. Fuck him for kicking an innocent family out of the village and isolating them. And fuck him for sentencing them to death. He's the reason they're dead. He's the reason the witch got to him. So for all those reasons, fuck him.
Yeah.
All right, I think we've got enough said about that.
I think we're all good.
Right, so we've got Ivy who wants to kill Catherine and save the baby. You want to kill the entire church and Catherine, so we'll count that as one. And you want Will back, which that was also a tough choice for me. I almost considered bringing Will back. My original choice I thought was going to be kill Catherine and bring Will back. I chose not to because Catherine's character shift she went through was enough to convince me that she was saved, that she was redeemable to me.
No.
I mean, by the end when she was attacking Thomasin, I almost thought, well, fuck this bitch. But I still couldn't get over the governor and the fact that he sentenced an entire family to death. So...
Well, not really to death, more so just like, hey, you're excommunicated, get the fuck out.
Well, yeah, but I mean, that decision is what led to their demise.
Yeah.
Like, if it wasn't for that, the family would have been fine.
Why did you kick him out?
I don't think the movie ever explains why.
Not really.
That's another thing about it, is the movie just kind of... The movie starts with, like, them having a council meeting inside the church or, like, town hall. And Will is arguing the innocence of his family, and the governor's basically saying, you're guilty, you're leaving. Basically, the choice was Thomasin leaves, or you leave, or all of you leave with
They
him.
really explained what Thomasin did.
Yeah, there was no explanation as to what Thomasin did, but everything that Will was saying was basically implying that they were accusing Thomasin of being a witch. And Will was defending his family. Because until the end of the movie, Thomasin isn't a witch. She only is because she loses everything.
Oh no, I can't have any opinions on that. That was just very...
But now you know.
Okay.
So we have Ivy wanting to kill Catherine, bring the baby back. You want to kill Catherine and the entire church, and then save Will, and then
Fuck them, kid.
I want the governor dead, and I want baby Samuel back. We obviously don't know the results of the last poll.
Spoken
So-
like a true pig.
I'm thinking next time you see us, we will be covering Saw from 2004. Ivy will not be able to join us for that episode, so you will just have myself and Vampy talking about it. I'm very excited for it. I know that I am a huge fan of the Saw series. First one's hit or miss for me, and I know that Vampy's a big fan of the Saw series.
I
so-
fucking love Saw that Power My Baby.
Me too, yeah. So that's going to be a fun episode. So that will be uploaded not this coming Saturday, the 9th, but the 15th, which is also, incidentally, the day of Clash at the Castle. So if you're a wrestling fan, you can listen to us, and then you can watch Clash at the Castle, or listen to us while you watch Clash at the Castle. Either way, it works fine for us. But we want to say thank you guys for being patient. I know you haven't heard our voices in like 3 weeks, and I was beginning to think this episode wasn't going to happen at all, so I'm really grateful that we actually got to get together to do this. It's currently 2:32 a.m. here in the eastern U.S., and frankly, I have to drive a half an hour home, which I'm not looking forward to, but I wanted to get this episode out to you guys because this really does matter. So thank you for your support. Thank you for being here. And if you think you're safe, you're not. Remember that.
Remember, kids, if they never tell you the government wouldn't do that, yes, they would.
That's right.
Wow, wait a
And as Bill and Ted once said, be excellent to each other. We're out, guys.
second.